Welcome to Six's Overdrive, everybody. Today we're at Lloydminster Honda. The ride and drive is here, and we're going to be looking at the brand new, all new 2016 Africa Twin. They brought it back, and they brought it back to Canada, and it's pretty much worldwide. We're not doing the DCT, we're just going to go for a manual transmission rip. So let's see what this bike's all about. Okay guys, so this is the new Africa Twin, a lot lighter. Some of you might remember the Veradero, and this is a lot lighter, but it's still using that 1000cc engine. You get 100 horsepower. I'll put the exact numbers up on it. Canadian, this bike is about $15,000 with DCT, about 14 without. First thing you notice when you get on it, this review is going to be about how it feels just by the seat of the pants. And we've got the seat in the lowest position, and I can touch. I've got a 30-inch inseam. I'm 5'8", generous, and that feels pretty good. As you can see on the dash here, we've got some adjustable front suspension. Then your preload in the back. We've got an ABS switch to turn everything off. Let's just turn it on and see some of the little features on the dash here. So we've got selectable traction control modes. You got your average economy. You got air temperature, you got a fuel gauge, trip A, trip B. Very nice little gauge set there. So you can take that all out. The traction, you got mode 1, 2, and 3. Alright, the speedometer is good, got a nice RPM sensor here, and then your speed, there's your gas gauge right there, your air temperature, your gear indicator. Nice gauge set, so that should do pretty nice. And that's about it. This is a more bare bones adventure bike. This one's supposed to be a little bit better in the dirt, and we're going to find out how good it is on the highway, guys. We're not going to get a chance to take a look at it on the dirt. So, you know, you'll have to wait for another time. But this is a ride with Honda, so we're just going to check out the power. I've had 40 years of experience, so I'll be able to tell you if this power suits dirt riding pretty quickly. Feels very, very good for a 1000cc dirt bike. It's, as you can see, I'm rocking, and I told you before, I'm only 30 inches in the inseam, so it works pretty good. Okay guys, I'll show you a few of these things. Here's your preload adjustment that you can adjust right here. You'll notice that these foot pegs, you can remove these out for the dirt. That foot peg is not very big for dirt. It's got nice cleats in it. But you're going to maybe want to replace that if you're doing serious off-road. But I really find that 90% of the people that buy these bikes are not in it for the supreme off-road challenge. But this bike should be able to handle it. It's set up pretty nicely. And this exhaust can's pretty big, so you'll be able to save some weight there. And looks like a pretty nice little setup right out of the stock. You might want to get some crash protection. There's some hoses and stuff that can easily be punctured here. We got a lot of plastics that you might have to worry about a little bit, and you might want a little bit better hand guards. Okay, so let's see how we start it. We've got the key on. The start button is the kill switch, so if you turn it this way, it's going to kill the bike. If you press it down, it's going to start the bike. So stop the bike, kill switch, all on the same button there. I kind of like that. Signal light's low. It looks like I'm going to be hitting the horn a lot on this thing. We also have a pass button on this side that just flashes your lights a bit. That's kind of a nice touch. These mirrors are a little bit out. First thing we want to do is tidy that up. Okay guys, right off the bat, takes off right away. Very easy for dirt as far as it goes. Can lean it over. It's a little bit on the top heavy side, but pretty maneuverable. It's a tall bike, you got to remember that. Oh, look at the traffic. We're not going to get out of here for a while. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I just came right at the time where everybody wants to bite to eat. And yeah, So I've been sitting out in the heat with my riding gear on for an hour, waiting to ride this bike. I hope you guys are impressed, because Six's Overdrive put in some overtime for you. No, he's not going for frick. We're going to be sitting here all day. I guess it's a group ride. You got to do what you got to do. Okay, right off the bat, it's nice. It's got a real nice exhaust note, guys. Like, it's pretty, I don't know if you can hear it. This mic seems to isolate things pretty good. Let's put down my sun visor. It's pretty bright out today. But it's got a nice torquey sound to it. Oh, we're going to have to, let's eliminate the torque settings. So guys, I'm coming from a XSR 900. That's a bike I regularly ride, and I also have a DR 650. So I'm on the extreme of the torque power band kind of thing. The XSR is a beautiful engine, and so is, let's put this down, and the DR 650 is very good at down low grunt. This bike here, I think you're supposed to rev it out a little bit more than I am. Let's see, we're in third gear doing 70 kilometers an hour. We're at 76 kilometers an hour in second. 78 is first. So it is geared a lot like a dirt bike. Kind of neat. You're going to notice it's not overly powerful. For 1000 cc's, this thing does not hold a candle to the XSR 900. It's not even close. Due to the extra weight, I'm guessing, and not quite the same horsepower, it's just not quite the same. But, however, it is fairly flickable. It seems like it's nice and narrow. If I stand up on it, the handlebars are almost good from stock, and I can move them forward on the position scale, and that would probably do pretty good. But I'm not really a big fan of the bike's power on the highway. It's mediocre, but I was expecting it to be a little bit rip snorting. Of course, if you put an XSR 900 power band in this bike, when you went to drive it off-road, it'd be completely unmanageable. So this one would handle, like, this has got the right type of power, especially when you're down in the low gears, which is what you'd be on dirt. It's punchy enough, but it keeps it all under check. It'd probably be very easy to ride in the dirt, just judging by my experience. And I do a lot of dirt riding, guys. We're not going to get to today, but it would be very good on the dirt. And realistically, we're doing 100 down the highway, and there's lots of room for passing. It'd be comfortable all day for that. If you're comparing this to Tiger 800, I would say your horsepower is probably pretty close in the same category. This one's a little bit lighter. I'll put all those specs up. It's got a good touring range for the gas tank. Not too bad. You should be able to get 350 kilometers out of it. So it's not too bad at all. This bike here has a 21-inch front wheel, which is very well suited for off-road, but can feel a little bit light when you're cornering in the twisties. So we're coming up to our first corner, and we're just going to slow right down so that they can get ahead of us, so we can whistle through this corner and show you what this bike is like. I'm going to put it down into second gear. We're not going into the corner too fast here. We're only doing 60 kilometers an hour. And we're going to pull up on them now. And into the corner we go, and very flickable. Alright. So, it's very nice that way, guys. Very good cornering, very stable. That was a nice little test of it. We leaned right in. You could tell how fast we were going by how quick we pulled up on the other guy. Thank you. Okay, second gear roll on, guys. Okay, it's got decent power, more than I thought. You really have to twist the throttle, but that's really good for dirt, guys. To keep that throttle really nice so it's not jerky at the start. Like, it's very smooth, and that is vitally important when you're on a dirt bike, that the throttle is smooth, and this one nailed it. 6th gear cruising, we're doing about 100 kilometers an hour. The speed limit, the speedometer says 100. These rides notoriously take you right down to the speed limit, and these bikes, of course, if you put any GPS on a bike, you'll find that it's about 8 kilometers an hour out at 100. They're usually 8% out. So anyway, we're just putting down the road. Lots of wind protection with the windshield. So for those of you who like windshields, that's just fine. And it's very comfortable and it's very smooth. There's not a whole lot of vibration. 6th gear, we're basically pulling out about 3,800 RPM out of a possible 8,000. So very nice for a highway drive. You'd be all day comfortable on this, even though it is stripped down without the hand guards and the heated hand grips and cruise control, things like that. It's still very comfortable, and you're only paying $15,000 for a pretty competent adventure bike. Alright guys, what do we think of this bike? We've spent some time with it on the highway. We've shown you some of the options. This bike is very smooth on the highway. Sorry. So anyway, it's very smooth. Nice little ride. It's got some good punch, but you're gonna have to twist the throttle all the way to get it, which is good for dirt. But on the highway, you feel almost like you want a little more power. And we're gonna go into this corner super slow. I don't know why we have to drive so slow on these ride and drives. Like, I really haven't been able. I've taken a couple back off and try to take a high speed run, guys, and yeah, I haven't been able to fully test the power, but I dropped it down into second so I could get up past 100 kilometers an hour at full power, and it does go pretty good. It'd be perfect for dirt, this bike. So if you're, I know exactly the type of guy that's wanting to buy this bike. It's either the guy's thinks he's gonna tour the world and he ends up just driving it around town a lot and maybe taking the occasional gravel road somewhere. And let me tell you, the bike is more than suited for that. Off-road, this bike, I haven't ridden it off-road, but I've read some reviews. I've looked into the bike fairly extensively. This bike is pretty competent on the road, but don't expect it to be a single, like a KTM 690 or a DR 650 or a KLR 650. Don't expect that. It's 100 pounds heavier. So it's not going to be that bike, guys. However, what it gives up in the dirt to those bikes, it makes up in spades on the highway. Because this is more of a stripped down version of dual purpose. Anyway, guys, this bike here is really competent on the highway. You know, without having cruise control and heated grips and all the other things, it has a lot of modes in it. It's got a ABS system that works for off-road, so it's only back tire. It's got the traction control modes that, what I've read, have been spectacular in the dirt, and it's fairly flickable in the dirt. Most guys are surprised, but don't be mistaken. It's not a lightweight single-cylinder dirt bike. It's still more heavy than those. The suspension is definitely softer than those, and there's more things to damage when you tip it over. So guys, that's what I got to say about this bike. The highs for it is super comfortable on the highway. It's going to be very competent on dirt. I'd recommend it as your one bike for doing everything, moving up from a KLR 650 or a DR 650 or a KTM 690, that you just want a little bit better highway performance without losing too much in the dirt. This will do it. But don't think that it's going to be your be-all replacement for a dirt bike, because it's not that, guys. It's definitely dual purpose. Fire roads, light trails, slight hill climbs. That's what it's meant for, unless you're a pro rider. So if you like my review, guys, make sure you subscribe. I always like to say share, like, comment, and subscribe, because this is Six's Overdrive with another quality seat-of-the-pants ride on the Africa Twin. So goodbye, everybody.